Hi everyone, welcome to Bible Blast and Lesson 12. Today we're going to be doing the account of Isaac and Rebekah. Now at this point, Sarah, Abraham's wife, had died at the age of 127, and Abraham had buried her. Well, now it was time to turn his attention to finding a wife for Isaac. God had promised Abraham that he would have more descendants than all the stars. And so in order for him to have descendants, it was important that Isaac get married and have children. So Abraham called to him his oldest servant, Eliezer. He said to him, "Give me your hand, I pray you. I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not choose a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. But you will go to my country and there choose among my own people a wife for my son Isaac. What if the woman that is chosen is not willing to follow me to this land?" said the servant. "Must I take your son back there?" Abraham said to him, "Beware above all that you do not take my son there. The Lord God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my people, made a covenant with me. And he said to me, to your children will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall choose there a wife for my son. And if the woman does not willingly follow you, then you shall be freed from your oath. Only do not take my son back there." So the servant said that he would do as Abraham had said. Now Eliezer was in charge of everything that Abraham owned, and so he took 10 of Abraham's camels. Camels make funny noises. Now those camels were loaded up with all the provisions that he would need to make the journey, and there were some men who went with him to help drive all the camels. Of course, there were also gifts for the family of the one that would become Isaac's wife. And so after a long journey, they finally arrived in Nahor, and the women were coming out to the well for water. Well, Eliezer didn't want to make a mistake and choose the wrong woman, so he prayed and asked God to guide him. And he said, "O Lord God of my master Abraham, could it be that the woman to whom I shall say, 'Let down your pitcher and give me a drink,' and then she would give me a drink, and also be willing to water my camels, let that be the woman that would be Isaac's wife." And so, even before he was finished praying to the Lord, he saw a woman coming toward him, and she was so beautiful. And he said to her, please give me a drink of water from your pitcher." And so she let down her pitcher, and she gave him a drink. And she noticed all of the 10 camels that were with him. And she said, "And I will also draw water for your camels." That was exactly as Eliezer had prayed to the Lord. And so she tipped out the pitcher from which she had given Eliezer a drink, and she kept on filling it over and over and over until all the camels had had a drink. And I was reading that a camel can drink about 20 gallons. So if her pitcher would hold 3 gallons, she would have to fill it 6 or 7 times just for one camel. Well, imagine if there are 10 camels, she would have to fill those pitchers a lot and do a lot of filling of the troughs until the camels were done drinking. That was a lot of work, but she was very kind in the way she handled herself there. Well, after the camels had drunk, Eliezer said to her, "Whose daughter are you? And would you have room at your house for all of us to stay for the night?" And she says, I am the daughter of Bethuel, who is the son of Nahor and Milcah. And so then Eliezer realized that she was the granddaughter of Abraham's brother, Nahor. And she said to him, we have so much room, we have straw and water, lots of room, and you can all come and stay. And so she ran back to her mother's house, and she told her mother all of the things that had happened. And she showed her mother gifts that Eliezer had given her after she had finished drawing the water, beautiful gold bracelets and a gold earring. Well, Rebekah had a brother, Laban, and when he heard what she said and saw the gold bracelets, he ran to the well and saw Eliezer and said, oh, why are you waiting here? Please come back to the house. I have made room for you, and there's lots of food. Please come and spend the night with us. And so Eliezer and all the men and the camels went back to Rebekah's house. And Laban's family made a meal. And Eliezer said, I cannot eat until I've told you why I've come. And he said, I am the servant of my master Abraham, and God has made him rich. He has many, many flocks and gold and silver. And Sarah, his wife, gave him a son in his old age. And everything that he had, he has given to Isaac. And he told them how he had prayed and that God had answered his prayer and showed him that Rebekah was the woman. And so he said, are you going to let her come with me and make my master's request successful? And they said, well, God has done all this, so we can't answer yes or no. It's the Lord's will. And so he said, go ahead. Laban said, go ahead and take my sister, and you may go. And Bethuel, her father, also said the same thing. You may take her and go. So the next morning when they all got up, then they kind of had a change of heart. And Laban and his mother said, let the girl stay with us at least 10 days. But Eliezer said, oh, please do not hinder me, because God has made my journey successful. Please let me go and take her to my master's son. And so they said, well, we will ask Rebekah. So they said to Rebekah, will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. Let's take a look at the pictures. We have Abraham making the agreement with Eliezer. And then we have Rebekah giving Eliezer a drink from her pitcher. And then there is Rebekah with her family. And so they loaded up the camels, Eliezer and the men, and Rebekah and her nurse. And they set off to go back to the land where Isaac was. So when they got back to Isaac's home, Isaac was walking in the field in the evening and praying to the Lord. And Rebekah got off the camel and said to Eliezer, who is that man over there? And Eliezer said, that is my master's son. And so Rebekah covered her face, and Eliezer told Isaac everything that had happened. And so Isaac took Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent, and there she became his wife, and he loved her. So here is a picture of Rebekah coming toward Isaac, and there's Isaac seeing her. And I'm going to show you my Answers in Genesis book. There are some pictures there, a few for you to see. So there's Abraham looking up at the stars when God told him he would have many, many descendants. That's number one. In picture number 2, there's Abraham's servant traveling to find Isaac a wife. And then number 3, there's Eliezer praying to the Lord, asking for the woman to give him a drink from her pitcher, and then offer to water his camels, that would be the woman, that would be Isaac's wife. And then number 4 over here, there she is doing just that in answer to Eliezer's prayer. And here she is as Isaac's wife. You know what's really interesting is that when God called upon Abram and said, "Get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house and go forth to a land which I will show you," Abraham went forth. He obeyed the Lord. And when God called upon Abraham to take his only son and go to Moriah and offer him there on the fires of an altar, Abraham again obeyed. He went forth and took his son. Well, here, Rebekah has done the same thing, hasn't she? She has gone from her country and from her father's house and been willing to go to the land where Isaac was, the one that God had given to Abraham and his descendants. And so she is a very good fit for Abraham's family, don't you think? I hope you'll come back next time when we hear about the children that God gave to Isaac and Rebekah. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.